Welcome to Wild. I'm your host, Robin Lavasser. They say our biggest fear is not that we are inadequate. It's being powerful beyond measure. In this podcast, I will share how to break through imaginary ceilings, lean into success, discovering your purpose, and understanding how to create the business and life of your dreams. From failures to triumphs and all the tactics in between, let's jump into the wild arena together. Welcome back to Wild with Robin Lavasser. I love to be observant. I love to recognize things about people. And if anybody knows me, they know that I very often I'm a verbal processor. So I often say things pretty quickly, right? Like I'm one that can shoot my mouth pretty fast. And I've learned a lot of lessons in not thinking before I speak, if you will, not kind of following that think test, which I think I've done a whole podcast on before. And that's is it true? Is it helpful? Is it inspirational? Is it necessary? Is it kind? And it's funny when you run through all of the things in your head, it's not don't say it at all. It's maybe say it in a different way. And I will tell you, saying the thing that you mean with the outcome that you hope to get. And when I say outcome, sometimes the outcome is just a give, right? I want to pay somebody a compliment. And I'll give you an example. I came out of the bedroom we were doing a couples weekend, and I came out of the bedroom, 8:30 in the morning or something, and showered and ready to go on a Saturday morning, and everyone's kind of in sweats. And I just tend to, once in a while I lounge around, but for the most part, I tend to go get showered and get ready. And so I don't have to go back and forth, right? And so needless to say, I went and showered and got ready, and I come out into the kitchen, and one of my dear friends, who I absolutely love and adore, says to me, "Why are you all gussied up?" And it's so funny. I was like, I'm not, I don't, and all of a sudden I was kind of like defending myself. And then later she said, "No, what I meant was you look nice." And I thought, gosh, aren't we guilty of that? Later that afternoon, and this, just one of those things that I started referencing. Later that afternoon, my daughter was playing soccer, and we went and watched her indoor game, which happened to be where we were all staying as a group. And so we caught her indoor game, and she does this great thing where she just absolutely sprints down the field and often ends up scoring a goal. She gets these bursts, she plays defense, makes it to the very front. It's an impressive run. Like, she really does well with it. She's got great wheels, great ball skills, great control, and she bobs and weaves around everybody at least a couple times a game. And then she always has to backtrack, get back on defense, and catch her breath. So hopefully the ball stays down there if she didn't actually score, because she needs a minute to catch her breath because it's a long sprint down the whole field, right? And so instead of saying to her, because it's one of my favorite things to watch that she does on the field, I love to watch you go from defense all the way to the goal. And whether you score or you just shoot, it's so fun to watch your acceleration and your momentum that you take down the field, your control, your confidence. It's so fun. And instead I say, "Man, do I love your bursts of energies, but woo, you're really sucking air at the end." That's literally what I said. And what we would call that, right, is kind of a backhanded compliment, which is not what I intended. The truth is, I love it, but I didn't give it the right words in that moment. I tend to be a little witty, a little sarcastic on things. And sometimes that means that I'm not landing the compliment in the way of connection, right? Maybe I'm landing it to be playful, which is okay, but I can do too much of that and get myself either in trouble or know that it didn't hit the way it was supposed to hit. And what someone hears isn't always what you intend. And so how do we talk about that in a better way? The gap between the intention and the impact that we want to have. And there is a huge people experience our words, not our intentions. I experience people's words, not their intentions. I believe our intentions that live inside our head, live inside our hearts. Our words are what actually arrive at the doorstep of somebody else, right? Our words are what ultimately infiltrate, because that's what they can take on. And so when I wrap a compliment into sarcasm, teasing, disclaimers, extra commentary because I'm trying to be funny or relatable or avoid being vulnerable, the problem is that compliment gets lost in the packaging. I'll say it again, the compliment gets lost in the packaging. And why do we do that? Here's what's funny is that it's such an interesting thing. I think vulnerability is a big thing. And so we often grew up being teased poked fun at, joking with, which is a beautiful thing. Laughter is a great medicine. Having great sarcasm with people is a great medicine. And we learned by nature to soften sincerity because sincerity often feels risky. It feels vulnerable. It's safer to say, look at you, you overachiever, than I'm really proud of you, especially as adults, right? How often do we say things like, I'm really proud of you? It's safer to say, well, somebody got fancy today, instead of, you look incredible. Wow. And leave it at that. Not what's it for? Not is this a one-time occurrence? Not, right? It's safer sometimes to make a joke than to be vulnerable. And the older I get, the more that I realize people are starving for genuine encouragement. And this is a beautiful gift in being a masterful communicator. This is a beautiful, just overall topic for this podcast that I think will land with many of you, I hope, because when I say people are starving for genuine encouragement, I have to check myself. They don't always want clever. They don't always want sarcastic. They don't always want backhanded. They just want genuine encouragement. And again, because that requires vulnerability, right? Have you ever played the game where you sit and you really give somebody all the reasons why you maybe admire them or you love them or you appreciate them? And if you stop for a minute, it's almost habit to crack a little joke or to do a little takeaway when you are gushing on somebody. They're uncomfortable possibly receiving all of that praise, and we're uncomfortable giving it. It's kind of bananas, you guys, when you think about that from a universal rule, just in business in general, and sales especially is so based on influence and communication that we have to do a better job. And so I think of myself in leadership in general. We're all leaders, right? Parents, spouses, friends, co-workers, people. We often believe or think that people know what we mean. They know what I meant. And then we say things like they overreacted or they didn't get it, or, they're being sensitive. And while, yes, that is sometimes the case, clarity is kindness. And when you just give somebody a really genuine compliment, it's genuinely felt. When it's a sarcastic compliment, it's sarcastically felt and could go a multitude of directions. So if someone did a great job, say they did a great job. If you're proud of somebody, tell them they're proud. You're proud of them. If they look beautiful, tell them they look beautiful. If they inspired you, tell them they inspired you. Without extra words, without the joke, without the disclaimer, without the sarcasm. I've started catching myself when I'm adding extra to the sentence, the unnecessary sentence, the sarcastic sentence, the sentence that dilutes the message. Have you all listened to a great talk and then somebody adds an and they could have finished right then and there, or listened to a song, they could have finished right then and there, and it would have gone out on a high note, but they kept speaking, and all of a sudden the wow factor got lost in the moment. No different than somebody singing a song. It's a great song, but the song goes on so long that at some point, like, I love the song and it's still a classic and I get it, it's a long one, but it's a long, 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 long song. So oftentimes you want to cut it off at a certain point and you think, would that song have hit even harder if it was just a little bit more to the point, right? To direct and cut off at the right time. And so what's the actual thing that we try to communicate with others? How do we want it to truly land? Joking absolutely takes place. Sarcasm absolutely takes place. But when we can deliver things with what we hope they receive, it matters not what our intentions are, but what the words are that we deliver. I'll go back to that. So challenge for this week, find a few people and say the thing you actually mean, not the funny version, not the safe version, not the sarcastic version, just the real version. You never know who desperately needs to hear it, to feel truly seen, to feel recognized. And it matters instead of good to see you. Maybe you say something like, every time I see you and you smile, it brightens my day because you have such a great smile. Sometimes the extra words add beautiful context that land even better. But when it's always humorous, it's always sarcastic, those kind of things, it can definitely take away, right, from all of it. And so wrapping this up, I want you to think about the fact that unspoken and or poorly delivered compliments or gratitude ultimately don't ever get the result that you were hoping to give somebody. If inside our head we're thinking or defending, I was complimenting, I was thinking, I was encouraging, but what came out sounded different than that, then we all of a sudden lost it. Right? It's not giving somebody the gift you hoped to give them. It's the same as buying a birthday present and it's sitting in your closet and never remembering to hand it to somebody. The intention's there, the delivery never got right, never was given. And so who benefited from an unopened birthday present? Really nobody. The gift never arrived. The same thing happens with appreciation. It happens with encouragement. It happens with love. If we are not delivering it, if we're not allowing somebody to be open to it, if we're not allowing somebody to receive it in the right way, then honestly, it's an unopened gift. And that's how I think about gratitude and compliments. Am I allowing somebody to open the gift the right way? Am I giving them what they need so that they feel seen? People are not suffering because of too much love and compliment and encouragement in the world. They're starving for it. And that is so true in our teams. It's actually true in our borrowers amidst a very emotional process. It's true in our underwriting teams, our closing teams, our leadership teams. Everybody is ultimately starving for more encouragement, better delivery on gratitude and on compliments in general. And that will allow people to build confidence, right? It allows people to do favors for each other more willingly. It allows people to feel genuinely appreciated, which makes them come back on the job instead of maybe calling in sick after a really long, stressful day. I think about this with our children. I could teach a million parenting lessons around children gaining confidence. They don't gain it because you're proud of them. They gain confidence because they hear it, which then allows them to digest it, which means it's inside them, versus you just knowing you're really proud of them and assuming they know, or delivering how proud you are of them in a million corrections with a little bit of compliment, right? And so challenge, again, find 3 people, find a multitude in yourself, stop yourself for a moment and say, how am I delivering this? Am I doing a great job with just being very direct that, hey, I appreciate you. Hey, I'm proud of you. Hey, you made a difference. You look great today. Thank you for that. Thank you for, that's a different expression of gratitude versus thank you. That says I'm being polite and I have manners. Thank you for the team that does this podcast for me, right? Thank you for editing all my mistakes. Thank you for making me look good. Thank you for getting it posted on social. Thank you for doing all the work behind the scenes that I don't have to do. That's a thank you versus thank you. See you on the next episode, right? Like very big difference to really, really give somebody, not assuming they know what that thank you was packed with. I'm going to unpack it. Not assuming they know what that compliment was packed with. I'm going to unpack it. Not assuming they know what that encouragement was packed with. I'm going to unpack it. And I promise you, if you get good at this, you will have more people open up to you. You will have more business coming to you because people remember how you make them feel. And so let's do a better job of how we communicate both gratitude, encouragement, compliments in a very stressful industry on the day-to-day and see how much not only expands ourselves, but it expands other people. If this was helpful, I hope you share it. We'll see you on the next Wild.